third law of motion. We've already talked about Bernoulli's theorem and how that contributes to lift. So I guess continuing on with our theory of flight stuff, we're going to be talking about Newton's third law, which is that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So in the theory of flight unit, you're probably going to go over all three of Newton's laws in your ground school. But honestly, you could just forget Newton's first and second laws at this point, because the only one that actually meaningfully contributes to lift, according to this course, is Newton's third law. Obviously, the other ones do contribute to lift, but you're probably not really going to be asked about them. So if you picture the wing of a plane in your head, obviously the angle of incidence is slightly positive. So the wings aren't going to be completely parallel with the ground horizontally. They're going to be kind of tilted up a little bit. So when the plane is moving through the air, the wing is going to hit the bottom and kind of get deflected downwards. So the air is getting pushed down. And now, according to Newton's third law, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if something is getting pushed down, something's going to have to get pushed up, okay? So the wing of the plane gets pushed up by the air being pushed down due to the angle of incidence and the way that the aircraft is moving through the air. So some questions that they might ask you about this topic on the PPAR. They might ask you something like, which one of these is Newton's third law? And they'll ask you, they'll give you an example of Bernoulli's theorem, an example of Newton's first law, second law, and third law, and then you have to just pick the third. And basically, if there's anything to do with action, reaction, your keyword here is going to be reaction. Automatically, that's going to be the correct answer. They might also give you some scenarios. So we could think of some scenarios like a gun recoiling when you shoot a gun and it recoils back towards you. Or if you're on a dock and you're stepping onto a boat and the boat kind of moves backwards as you step onto it, that would be an example of Newton's third law. Anything that has to do with something kind of getting pushed back by an action, obviously you get the point by now. So they might ask you questions like this. They might ask you kind of again, I mentioned in the Bernoulli episode, they might ask you whether it's Bernoulli's theorem or whether it's Newton's third law. And if it has to do with energy conservation, momentum, that's always going to be Bernoulli. And if it's got to do with forces, reaction, that's always going to be Newton's third law. Okay. So I guess a quick summary. Only important law in theory of flight is third. Third equals for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And yeah, that's it. Okay. Bye.